take it on the road, which I did, and then I realized that this was a much bigger topic than I was prepared to speak on. I stopped giving the speech. I went to school. I enrolled in the Denver School for the Financial Planning School of Financial Planning, got my CFP designation, not to do financial planning, but just to learn about the real world of markets. And then I started a 7-year project of research that ended in the writing of the book. So it just was a long, tortuous path, George, and I don't know what really motivated me, except at first I was curious, and then I got mad. The more I learned, the more I realized that I and all my fellow Americans were being ripped off by such a scheme as this. A scam, I guess, is a better word, and I decided I just had to do whatever I could to expose it to the public.
Very good. Nashville, Tennessee is promised. Ed, it's your turn. Go ahead, Ed.
Good morning, George. How are you?
Good, thanks.
And Mr. Griffin, you're a very, very, very intelligent person. I really enjoy your whole show here with Mr. Norrie. I have a question for you. I'm kind of too poor. I can't own gold. I just don't have the finances. But is silver a good bet? And if it is, where could I get it, and why is it a good bet?
Well, I think that silver is an excellent bet, and you must understand this is not my area of expertise. I don't give advice on investments, but I must say that anything in the way of silver or gold probably should be looked at not as an investment so much as insurance, because when the prices of gold or silver start really going up, that really means that the value of the dollar is going down. And even though you can gain in the short run by being there when this psychological wave hits and people suddenly wake up some morning and say, oh my gosh, the dollar is tanking, I better go out and buy some gold or silver, and then there's a psychological wave that hits the market. If you're already in gold and silver at that point, you can make substantial profits, but then it'll even out later on and you come back down to reality. I love gold and silver, but I do it not as an investment, but as insurance, just to preserve the purchasing power of my savings. I think that silver right now is undervalued by comparison to gold. I think there's more potential for a rise in price in silver than there is in gold, and so I think it's an excellent place to put your money.
Thank you, George. One quick question,
sure,
if you're still there.
Yep.
Off the subject, whatever happened with that gentleman down in with the cataracts and that? I guess you all.
I was going to have an update on him Friday, but I've got to tell you, Warren Buffett is interested in possibly helping him.
Really? That's great.
We'll have an update on Friday.
I heard that guy, and you came in. I mean, that was the best thing I've ever heard on radio. You are definitely a hero for this guy and for everybody listening here. You got a lot of good things. You're trying to help us out, and we need more like you.
We're going to get it done, one way or another. Next up, let's go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Steve, it's your turn on Coast to Coast. Stephen, go ahead.
Good morning. Excellent show.
Sure.
If the Fed controls the senators and the representatives, and they pay for their campaigns and whatnot, then isn't it an argument that Ron Paul could be in on this? Like he's there to get us interested in auditing the Fed, and then once it's opened, he's going to rule the party line, the company line, let's say.
Yeah, he would be one of the least people that I would think would be in on something.
Yeah, Steve, I think your point is well taken. It's an argument that could be made, but I think it's a very weak one because Ron Paul's political career is, there's no guesswork about it. He's established that he has gone against the Federal Reserve from the day he went into Congress. He's been exposing it, resisting it, calling for its abolition. He's not pulling his punches, and it would be almost inconceivable that a person like that could be controlled opposition, in my view.
Also, where does the so-called Illuminati fit in all this? Are they indeed the Federal Reserve amongst other world-controlling banks? And are they the world's biggest mafia, for lack of a better term?
The word Illuminati has different meanings to different people. For many people, it applies to the classical conspiracy that was established in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt, and which was exposed in Bavaria a few years later and everyone believes that it went underground, or a lot of people believe it went underground, or at least that it went out of existence. Whether or not that organization continues with a continuity into today, I don't know. I'm going to guess that it probably doesn't. But I do know that other organizations have sprung up which have adopted exactly the same strategies and the same structures. One of them was created by Cecil Rhodes, and this is not my topic tonight, but anybody that wants to research that would find the details in Professor Carroll Quigley's book called Tragedy and Hope, in which he describes how Cecil Rhodes used his vast fortune to create a secret society, which was modeled very closely after the structure of the Illuminati. Now, whether or not Cecil Rhodes himself was a member of the Illuminati or whether he was starting something, again, that's up to debate. However, I know that even today there's another definition of the word Illuminati, and some people use it to describe anyone who is on the inner circle, anyone who is part of this New World Order crowd, and who is working to bring it about. They say anybody that's making decisions in that group, they call them the Illuminati. So it depends a little bit on what you mean by the use of that word. I don't like the word because it conjures up too many non-definable issues. I think that the better word is that these people are elitists and globalists, and they do work together. And whether or not they have a continuity to the historical Illuminati or not, I just don't know.
Okay, let's go to the phones. Again, Vancouver, Washington, first-time caller. Brian, it's your turn.
Oh, thank you, George and Ed. Thank you for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
Very intriguing and informative conversation tonight. My question is, you guys have touched on the New World Order and the pandemic of the swine flu and everything that's going about, and I'm just wondering what you guys think. I mean, is this all part of what's going on with what I've been kind of learning about all these seemingly operational prison camps that they have sprouting up all over our country that have nobody in them yet, but they seem ready to take us all there? I mean, are they going to use these as our concentrations or quarantine camps for the epidemic? And I also, well, I guess that's it, and I'll just listen off the air.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I guess it's time for me to express my opinion on that. And like I said a moment ago, a lot of these issues are not my area of expertise. I'm really ready to talk at a drop of a hat about the Federal Reserve System and the monetary system. But when it comes to issues like the swine flu and the FEMA camps and all of those sort of things, I guess my opinion is of no more value than anybody else's. But nevertheless, since you've asked, I'll give you my opinion, and that is that I think it's all tied together. I think that the elites know that there's going to be a backlash. They've anticipated this years ago, and they have laid very careful plans how to deal with it. And that involves the FEMA camps and the concentration camps, and one of the things they also are, I'm quite sure, interested in doing is unleashing a pandemic. If they could, they would like to see it because it could be used as an excuse for martial law, and it would be an excuse for putting people into these camps if they resisted taking the vaccinations. And I personally believe that anybody in their right mind should resist to the death to take those vaccinations, because I think they're not going to be very healthy, and that would be the understatement of the year. So I think it's all tied together. They're all bad things that are happening, and I just don't know why and how they're tied together and who's calling the shots. I don't know any more than anybody else on that. Okay,
let's go to Patrick in Rexburg, Idaho. You're up on the wild card line, Patrick. Go ahead.
Hey, interesting show tonight. Appreciate your guests. Appreciate you. Earlier caller brought up the little thing about the lottery, and you spoke on how approximately only 3% of the populace in any given country or social structure will lead forth to make changes and to overcome the oppression that's there. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that is a historical fact, yes.
Right. Yeah, I figure about 3 to 5%.
Mm-hmm.
and that comes from usually inside. But, Pol Pot, Hitler, Stalin, all of those people, those leaders, destroyed any opposition as soon as it